I remember going into my local arcade one Friday evening back in the early 80s and hearing this new game being played in the back of the arcade. What drew me to the game initially was the theme music. The dun 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 dun. I had to find out what this game was making this really cool tune. And of course it was Moon Patrol. Being a new game in the arcade, there was a lot of people crowded around it. So I got to watch a lot of the gameplay while I waited for my turn. And one of the things that really drew me to this game was the parallax scrolling it had in the background. I thought that was really cool, having three layers of background moving. Gave you a sense of depth to the game that was pretty neat to see. I really liked the animation of the little moon buggy as well. How the little tires would bounce up and down as you go across the lunar surface. And he would jump and they would all flop down and bounce back up again. Pretty neat little effect. One of the challenging things, though, for this game was trying to keep track of everything that's going on the screen. Not only do you have UFOs trying to bomb you from up above, you have rocks and other obstacles on the ground you have to avoid, either by shooting or jumping. So you're keeping an eye on the whole screen the entire time, and sometimes it gets very busy on that crazy game screen. As you progress to the levels, which labeled A through Z, which I thought was a kind of a neat for an arcade game, it actually lets you progress, and you get to a spot. If you would die, you start at that spot again, not at the beginning of the game. If you had the game end altogether, you could continue on at the last checkpoint that you passed. I thought that was really neat because it actually motivated you to try to get to the end by just putting more quarters in it, since you were so far along anyway, instead of starting over at the beginning again. And I tell you right now, I put a lot of quarters in this machine to get to the very end so I can see what was there. Now, the different zones are kind of neat. They do change up ever so slightly depending on what zone you're going into. Of course, you're in the first zone, the A through whatever. And it's like an introductory kind of zone. It's not really difficult to get you into the game. But as you go to the next set of zones to get through, the difficulty will start to ramp up. You'll have more UFO traffic above you. You'll get different types of UFOs. There's this one that likes to drop this energy bomb that'll create craters you got to jump over. The obstacles will change. The craters will get bigger, or you have bigger boulders or smaller boulders that are different distances apart. You got to try to time your jumps or shoot and jump at the same time. Adds a lot of strategy to the gameplay. Of course, the level that's my nemesis is the one with all the landmines. There's all this level has is landmines. You got to try to jump over. And for the life of me, I have the hardest time timing my jumps to get through this landmine level. This is usually where I spent the most quarters, is trying to get through the landmines. And then, of course, after that, you'll have a level that'll have some tanks that shoot back at you, that you guys shoot to get through. And a level that kind of reminds me of Jungle Hunt is when you're going up the grade, the incline, you have these round boulders rolling down at you. It reminds me a lot of Jungle Hunt, that level does. So you can shoot the boulders or jump over them or whatever. And of course, at the end of the game, when you finally get to Zone Z at the very end, you get this great little victory tune, and it gives you all the stats for how you played the game. Now, when Atari released this for the 2600, I was all over this game. I bought it almost pretty much when it came out. I remember going to my local store. I think I got it from where did I get this game from? I think it was Montgomery Ward's, maybe? I don't remember. But I do remember going in to see what games had been put out. And I saw Moon Patrol. So, yep. Get that off the shelf, get this thing bought, take it home. When I first fired it up, I was expecting, not for it to be all that great because of the Atari graphics limitation and everything. But Atari did a fairly decent job of porting this game over to the 2600. You get the basic elements of the game. The gameplay is definitely there. And it does sound halfway decent. You can turn the music on and off, which is a nice feature. I wish I did that in more Atari games. But overall, the gameplay is actually pretty good. It's actually comparable to the arcade game. I find the 2600 game a little bit more challenging for me than I do the arcade game for some reason. I think it's all on the timing of my jumps and stuff. You know, one of the things that you have to do on the 2600 in order to play this game is you have to push the joystick up in order to jump. And every once in a while I get confused and I don't do it like you're supposed to, and I end up crashing into a rock or falling into a hole. But, you know, once you get used to the controls, it's actually a pretty good game to play. Now, I have not ever been able to get to the end of this game playing the normal modes, you know, medium and hard. I can almost get to the end when I'm playing the very easy mode that has a little teddy bear at the bottom of the screen. I call that the Willy mode. That one I can get fairly far into the game before I die. And the unfortunate thing about the Atari 2600 version is I haven't been able to find a way where you continue from where you last died. You got to start the game all over again. So that's kind of a bummer, because I would like to see what the 2600 version looks like at some of the upper levels. But it's still a very enjoyable game. You know, one of the things me and my buddies used to do is we had our 2600 controller that we modified. And we put a little extra switch on it, a little push button switch we got at Radio Shack. And we wired that into our up on our joystick, so we had a button to push instead of pushing up on the joystick. That worked really well. I could play the game a lot easier with my little custom controller than I could using the stock configuration. Some fun stuff to do there. I still like this game quite a bit, both in the arcade and on the 2600. It's still one of my favorite arcade games. So now let's take a look at what came in the box. And here's the glorious box to the Atari 2600 version of Moon Patrol. Love this box art. Really like the Moon Patrol logo here. Looks just like the arcade logo. Really great artwork. Looks like this came from KB. Don't know how much it cost back then, but at least it did come from KB. That's kind of cool to see these old stickers, price stickers on these older games. On the back, got the classic old screenshot there. Tells us about the game. Got a little description here. What's it say? Let's read this real quick here. Hop into your moon buggy. You're about to journey across the surface of the moon. Be prepared to blast moon rocks and jump over gaping craters and dangerous landmines. Then the real challenge begins. 3 types of alien UFOs bombard your moon buggy. Protect yourself by firing missiles above and in front of you while jumping over huge holes and zapping lunar rocks and UFOs. Oh man, awesome. So let's look in the box here. We got our little cartridge. If I get out of there. There we go. Get out of there, you. With the same artwork on the front of the cartridge as typical. Silver label. This is really a nice looking cartridge. I really like this. Moon Patrol. Let's see what else we got here. Ooh, we got 2 things in here. We got the instruction manual, and we also have a catalog. Oh, right. I love getting these catalogs in these old games. Back when this first came out, when I got it, I had one of these catalogs, and I used to spend hours upon hours poring over the catalogs, you know, seeing what kind of cool stuff they were coming out with. Of course, this one here shows the little computer module you can get to plug into your Atari 2600, which I've got one of those, the CompuMates. There's the old 7800 there, I think. No. Yeah. I think that's what it is. No, the voice commander. Oh, that's kind of cool. And we have the VCS cartridge adapter for the 5200. This is a cool joystick, the Space Age joystick. I've never used one of these before. I'm going to try to get one to try it out. But typical catalog, you know, it shows all the games that are currently out for the system. Love these things. I got one of these right here somewhere that I want to have framed because it's in really good shape. So the manual. Let's take a look at the manual here. Now this is a what do you call those things? Bifold manuals? There's not tape or anything, but it opens up in different stages here. So it looks like a Cylon Raider. That's kind of cool. Talks about the game objective, which I just basically described by reading the story in the back of the box. Your gameplay, what the screen represents, It's actually not a bad version of Moon Patrol for the 2600. They did a pretty good job porting the arcade game over. We open it up here. We have our scoring table, our jumping points, how many points we get for things we jump over. Left and right difficulty switches. You can change how many speeds the Moon Buggy has, like from 2 to 3 speeds. You can also turn the music, background music on and off, which is kind of nice. I like it when they have those kind of features in the game. I had to use the controller. And of course, the game variations. I initially tried to play this on one player, medium difficulty, and I can't get very far. So I had to engage the Willy mode, which is the little teddy bear, so I get farther in the game. Still a fun game, though. Put it on the hard mode, forget it. I can't play the game with the darn on hard. I'm just not very good at these kind of games. Pretty cool. Some helpful hints here. Let's see what these are. As you travel along the course, you'll see areas where a rock is placed, just behind a landmine or crater. When this happens, time your shot very carefully. Yeah, I encounter that a whole lot. Watch out for UFOs that look like this. The little 2 circles on top, look like Mickey Mouse ears. They create craters when they drop bombs. Those are the most difficult for me, especially in the arcade game. What a great game. Oh, this is pretty nice artwork here. I just love these Atari manuals when they have the full color spreads and everything. They are so awesome. Well, that was Moon Patrol for the Atari 2600. What are your thoughts on this game? Comment down below. Thanks for watching.